Hello and welcome to round 6 Sunday of the Oceanic Pro League. My name is Michael Hingersing and it is a massive pleasure to have your company today as the rain pours down here at the Riot Studios in Sydney, Australia. It's a massive week of esports. Both games today are must-wins for all 4 teams involved. 2 massive matches for you, kicking things off with a team of players few people expected to be doing this well, taking on a team of players few people expected to be playing. Can Avant Garde bounce back after a loss last week against against his ever-changing Tainted Minds roster? An esports kaleidoscope who have brought in Wizard and Squidgy from Sin to start this week. And then we have our match of the week, a top-of-the-table clash. El Clasico PL, Legacy versus Chiefs, their first meeting of 2017, a rematch of last year's Split 2 final, the biggest match in Oceanic esports. A win for Legacy would see them top of the table, but like a builder in a concrete, speed-pouring competition, Chiefs are looking to cement first. I'm a professional comedian, you guys. Joining me at the desk to break down these games as they have, we have our in-house OPL analyst, Nathan Mendrix-Mendez, and also our special guest today, a very unbiased commentator and analyst today, owner of Legacy Esports, and Minky Whale Trin. Thank you so much for being here.
Hello, thank you.
And I want to start by asking you, can you be unbiased today, or are we just going to lean fully into you being a very biased commentator?
I will try my best to be as unbiased as possible. I'll speak as objectively as I possibly can.
And Mendrix, how you doing today? You having a good week?
I've been having an excellent weekend. And I mean, to be honest, what a perfect day to actually have the El Clasico. When it's raining down, it's perfect to snug up, get you guys watching the games and really enjoy what's coming up.
All right, well, let's take a look at our first match today. It is Avant Garde versus Tainted Minds. And Minky, you've worked with AV in the past as an organization years ago. So how good is this 2017 AV lineup? Is it the best in AV history?
They started up quite rocky, but they're getting very, very good. They're quite solid now. In terms of history, though, my roster was the best AV roster in all of time. So they can have second for now.
Mendrix, their opponents today are TM, still without a stage coach. 3 new players since last round, but you would have seen a lot of these guys in the OCS earlier this year.
That's right. So, I mean, looking at the new guys that they've picked up, Brawler specifically, I mean, he's a one-trick at the moment in terms of Nami. He's very fantastic on that particular champion. But one thing I want to note with that, it's crawling up into the meta again, which means it might be targeted against him specifically. Also, there's only most at home on those carry junglers, expected Nidalee or Graves, and finally Squidgy Boy. Really good to find some ADC talent at the moment. It's quite hard to find it in the Oceanic region. He's amazing on the Jhin, and to be honest, at the moment, he's been playing a bit of Kog'Maw and solo queue, so expect that to be a pocket pick.
All right, well, let's see if these new players for TM can gel. But earlier today, I spoke to team captain of AV, Jake, about their upcoming match today, and I started by asking him how they were looking to bounce back after their loss last week.
We're versing much easier opponents this week. Hopefully just cleaned it up. We had a good shot at winning the second game against Chiefs, and we just needed to clean out our macro in the mid game. So yeah, we can clean that up.
All right, well, Tainted Minds have only locked in their roster a few days ago, so it's quite late in the piece. Are you a team that tries to prepare for individual teams and rosters, or are AV just looking to execute their own game regardless of who you're up against?
I think you should never undermine your opponents, but I think it's really important to focus on yourself, because if you're playing too much are you focusing on what the enemies are doing, then you're not really focusing on your own game. You're more reacting. So yeah, we're definitely focusing on ourselves.
All right, well, it's hard to know what to expect from TM today because it is, in many ways, a new roster. But what can we be expecting from AV?
Ooh. What can we be expecting? Just some standard play, I guess. Just clean standard play. We just definitely want to clean it up as we're going in towards the playoffs in a few weeks. So yeah,
You feeling pretty confident for today, Dan?
definitely.
Excellent stuff. Well, thank you for speaking to us, and best of luck in the match.
Cheers.
There we have Captain Jake being relatively cagey about their upcoming game today. And as we see the guys here getting ready, Blinky looking very relaxed. Well, let's take a look at their roster. Their top laner today, Series. Their jungler is Chelby. Their mid laner is Triple, who's just had a birthday, turned 18. Blinky is their AD carry. And the support player, their Captain Jake, very close to the camera, right there. And Mendrix, these guys have been, as we said, they've been outperforming people's expectations so far this split.
Absolutely, especially in that game 2 against Chiefs last week. They definitely played a lot better in terms of how they went up in their first game. A bit shaky, specifically looking at Series. Swiper was able to find a few good weaknesses, really taking to him on that Shen.
All right, well, their opponents this week are Tainted Minds, and earlier today I spoke to their new mid laner Wizard, and I started by asking him how he felt about his move to the new organization.
Pretty good actually. Yeah, all the boys seem like really excited to play, and well, I'm excited for like a new start. So yeah, I'm pretty pumped to play.
So how do you feel you're settling in? Do you think this new team is a good fit for your play style?
Yes, I do actually. It would be good to change it up, and obviously since we're just all new together now, like we'll have some time to adjust. But yeah, I think it's going to be good.
So you're just trying to settle in and trying to get everyone to gel together as a team.
Yeah.
But in terms of experience, you've already played against AV once this year. What did you learn about them from that match?
I found that if they get like, especially Triple Cheese, their mid laner, if he gets ahead, he can like punish pretty hard with the lead. So if I hold my own, I think that we'll have a pretty good chance.
There we have the guys getting ready, and Wizard saying needs to hold his own in that mid lane versus Triple. Let's take a look at their roster, shall we? Their top laner returning from mid lane is Praetor this week, trying to adjust his chair. Their jungler is Only. Their mid lane, who we just spoke to, is Wizard. Their AD carry, who's come across from the Sin organization with him, is Squidgy. And their support player, Brawler. And these guys have not had a lot of time to practice together, Nicky Well.
No, so they've just spawned recently, and I mean, with every new roster, there's going to be teething issues. Let's hope they can get over them quick. I'm expecting an easy win for AV here, but you know, I could be wrong.
All right. Well, Mendrix, let's focus in on some individual players, shall we? I mean, we spoke about Blinky a lot this split. I mean, he came in from Exile 5 and has come across to Avant Garde. How do you feel like he's been playing this split so far?
He really has been a shining light for Avant Garde at the moment. This guy, every single time he goes to lane, he plays extremely well, bar that first game from last week, and he really is a monster when he's on the virus, doing a lot of damage across the board there.
Yeah, and also you see versus Chiefs last week, he played Jin and Ezreal, Mikuel. And one of the things about what we've seen there is in that second game, he really stepped up.
Oh yeah, well he tripled his damage.
Almost quadrupled.
More than
Yeah,
quadrupled his damage. And,
Good maths.
he almost won that game for AV. Unfortunately, they lost. But you know, if we keep seeing performances like that from Blinky, I think I see a bright future ahead for him and AV.
What's interesting there as well, actually curious I would say, is he actually picked up Deathfire Touch in that particular match. And typically what you normally go for is actually the further, or perhaps you go for the Thunderlords, that way you get the burst damage or a little bit of extra damage as you build up over time. And it was slightly weird for him to actually go for a Deathfire Touch and still pull out the same sort of results that you see in a competitive level.
Well, we saw Blinky playing on Ezreal last week versus Chiefs, and because this is now 7.4, the patch we've changed to, and some of the lethality change that we've seen, Ezreal might be a more viable option going forward, Mendrix.
That's right. So the big thing is that the lethality items have been nerfed a little bit. They're going down in terms of the amount of damage you can output, and that means that other ADCs start to creep up a little bit more in competitiveness. As you can see, Ezreal's more of a pocket pick beforehand, something that you would default to when you didn't get your hands on the Jhin or on the virus, and that's probably why its win rate isn't so high at the moment. But that means that it's probably going to gain popularity as time goes on.
I mean, Minky, we saw there on that graphic just then, Raze, King, Blinky have all played Ezreal. your boy Legacy lost, hasn't picked it up. Like, what do you guys know that no one else does?
Well, different teams have different styles, and for us, we have very capable carries in the top lane and the mid lane. So for us, Lost generally plays the supportive kind of just
Utility AD.
utility AD carry. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, big thing as well, though, Lost does play Lucian. We saw him play that extremely well last time as well against Direwolves, so has a few pocket picks available to himself.
Well, I mean, we've got Blinky on the screen right now. Do you expect he's going to pull out that Ezreal now that it's 7.4 today, Mendrix?
I feel like he'll still stick to the Varus, very strong champion in his own right, very versatile across the board. So maybe if he gets banned out, you see the Jhin and the Varus get banned out, expect Ezreal to come through for Blinky.
He's also talked in interviews before that he wants to play Sivir, and the team has been looking to play that. But let's move across to this Tainted Minds lineup. When you look at these guys, I mean, what do we know about Only? He's going to play the Nidalee, like you said. What do you know about Wizard? We've seen him play a lot of Echo. What about Squidgy? What do you know about Squidgy?
So Squidgy, as I mentioned, he's really well suited for this meta at the moment. He's had really good, solid performances on the Jhin, especially in the OCS. And one of the things I mentioned before is Kog'Maw might be a pocket pick for this guy. He's actually played quite a few games very recently with him. So if they decide to go for a protect the Kog'Maw composition, that'd be excellent to see.
And Minky, when you have a new team that's coming in like this, or a new roster that's kind of coming to this, how do you get these guys to be comfortable midway through a split? I mean, you're a team owner. You kind of run this show, right?
Yeah.
So what is your strategy?
Well, it's kind of like fitting into your team's culture. So I guess they have Praedith there who's been there like for longer than everyone else. So he'll kind of have to help assimilate his new roster kind of into, how the house would run or how the team would run and stuff like that.
So it's all on Praedith, Mendrix.
Exactly, yeah.
Pretty much. I mean, right now these guys are sort of jumping into it as if it's their first day at high school. So these guys are, they're uncertain what's happening.
I'll follow this analogy.
They need their buddy. They need Praedith, who's, he's in year 10 at the moment. He's going to come through and say, hey guys, I'm going to show you how everything's running and how we're going to do things. And he's going to help them sort of integrate casually into it.
Do you agree with that analogy?
Well, yeah, they're the new kids on the old playground. So
They're coming through from the OCS.
yeah.
A lot of them looking to prove themselves today. Well, hashtag IMOPL, let us know your thoughts on who's going to take it out today. But let's take a look at your tips, because opltips.com.au is where you can let us know who you think is going to win. And AV out with a big lead. And a lot of people saying it's going to be a hard-fought contest, though, with a third of people saying it's going to be a 2-1 victory. I want to get your guys' predictions. Mendrix, let me start with you. Who's going to win this one?
I feel it's going to be AV winning this purely because of their performances recently. And if they pull out Game 2 performances against the Chiefs last week, definitely going to be a 2-0 going through. So I'm putting 2-0 down for AV.
All right. Well, Minky, I know, obviously, you're an unbiased commentator in this particular matchup. But Tainted Minds, can they take a game off AV? And if so, how can they do it?
I would be surprised if they could, and if they did, it would be through a solid laning phase and only capitalizing on Chelby's weakness in the jungle.
So you think it's going to be fought over through the jungle, you think?
Yes.
All right, but otherwise a 2-0 to Tainted Minds. Well, there we have it. The players are ready and about to go into Champ Select. So that's enough from us here. Let's hand it over to our casters. It's Spawn and Fish.
Thank you very much, Hingers. I'm Matthew Fish Stewart. Joining me is Jake Spawn Tiberius. We're about to get into Game 1 of the second day of OPL this week.
Yeah, we certainly are. I tried to do that yesterday on camera, and it just didn't come through because our director was really slow on the mark. And I was just sitting there awkwardly hugging Fish for like 3 minutes. So thought I would get there in today and make sure that everyone knows that me and Fish, we say some mean things sometimes, but we actually are buds, aren't we?
But I didn't know it was awkward to hug me. Today I learned, unfortunately. Getting into the game, Spawn, we are going to have Avant taking on Tainted Minds here today. Tainted Minds again with a new roster. 3 weeks in a row, it seems. Avant sticking with their guns.
Yeah, and I mean, it's good that they've brought in Squidgy. Definitely last week, Grisha and Brawler struggled. However, Pabu and Fesh were, for me, the two big highlights of the team. Of course, Praedith going back into the top lane. That's no surprise. Pabu was a fly-in, fly-out. I thought Fesh actually might be potentially a long-term prospect. Don't know what happened there. Only great play in his own right. Wizard, we've seen him so much already on Sin. It's an exciting roster to see. However, they do need to gel well because a lot of these players are carries. Not much utility now on the Tainted Minds roster.
Then again, Tainted Minds, they are the kitchen sink right now, and putting Wizard into it, the River Wizard himself, seems like a very fitting mid laner to have here against Avant today. He said it himself during the interview that Triple can get quite big in the mid lane if he's able to get ahead. We'll have to see if Wizard's going to be able to keep him under control in this match.
Yeah, and I think that that's what this game becomes. Can they keep the top side of the map under control? Because really, when you look at it, Series, Chelby, Triple, that is such a potent area if they get ahead. However, don't play all that well from behind, as we saw from the Chiefs game 1. What we've come to expect out of AV is that their bottom lane is just a rock. They play a lot of utility. They get the damage out there. They've had very few bad games. So I expect that Blinky and Jake are an area that they can't really attack, especially given the fact that Squidgy and Brawler are so new and, you know, maybe not up to the highest quality in the OPL. So I expect that if TM win this, it's through the top side.
Yes, as you've said a few times before, the Bash Bros of the bottom lane of Avant Garde very stable along with their top laner Series, who has locked in the first champion for them. It's going to be Syndra, but the bans have gone through Rise, Camille, and LeBlanc for Avant Garde. And we have Varus, Zyra, and Ivan being banned out by Tainted Minds, who lock in their Graves and Lulu as the first 2 picks.
Yeah, so they get a little bit of a bully down there in the bottom lane. I like that, taking it into Jake. See if you can harass him out a little bit with the Lulu. For those wondering why Series is waving with tape on his hand, he is having a little bit of trouble with his wrist, and he's getting some sharp pain. Hopefully that isn't anything too serious. I've been there myself. I know that you stretch in between every single game. If you're at home watching and you play a lot of League of Legends, make sure you're stretching your wrists out. Last thing we want is people being tallied and not being able to play big games.
Certainly don't want that. You can see a lot of professionals internationally going with the tape as well. Hai, one of the more famous ones who tapes up before every single game, and definitely want to get some stretches
supports
going.
as well. Talked to him a lot about that at Worlds. He's just comfortable in them now. His wrists are actually okay, but you know, that's the way he plays the game, and he doesn't want them to deteriorate further.
As well, hopefully Series will be able to recover nice and easy here. He has had some monster games for Avant Garde so far. Unfortunately, was not able to continue his hit list against Swiper last week, but it seems like he's going to be picking up Nautilus heading into the top lane for this game, as Chelby is going to take Kha'Zix.
Cogmore's been locked in. I mean, this is going to be the Protect the Cogmore comp. That's why Lulu's been locked in. Lulu, historically one of the best supports to take with Cogmore, especially if you run that on hit build. Maybe something like a Wit's End, maybe even into the Gwinsu's Rage Blade that we've seen a lot. I mean, there's 2 kinds of thoughts on it right now. Cogmore's been reverted. You can either go with the old school Trinity Force into, you know, Hurricane, then an Infinity Edge, or you can just go the full attack speed on hit and try and mow people down.
And Squidgy, very surprising to see him pick up the Cogmore here. It seems like Tainted Minds do have a plan coming into this one, but Squidgy still has Jhin left up available, and it is his most played champion in solo queue right now. So not opting to go for that combo pick. We'll have to see how the Cogmore works out. For now, though, the second round of bans have gone through. Nami and Caitlyn are the bans coming out from Tainted Minds. Echo the first ban from Avant Garde targeted at Wizard.
That makes sense. You don't want to lane bully into Cogmore, because otherwise they're going to shut him down too early. And if it is a Protect the Cogmore comp, maybe even Wizard can get onto something like a Zillion and keep him alive a couple of times, lay out that CC. Then you don't want that to be a lane that gets behind early, because otherwise you need some initiation. What the heck? No, you need initiation somewhere, Fish. That's going to come out of the top lane, and then you do need another layer of protection here, because it's not coming out of the jungle.
Well, they banned out Karma as well. I mean, the Echo makes sense. Wizard plays it quite a bit. Karma, he has flexed it in the past. Wizard is very good at flexing those champions. But it's still an interesting ban coming out from Avant Garde. Tainted Minds have the first pick here, and the final pick during the draft phase. Jace will be their pick of choice, which has gone through to the second round of Champion Select.
Yeah, and I don't know whether that makes all that much sense. Jace is a great champion, but at this stage, you've already got Graves and Cogmore. That's more than enough damage. You need something that rounds out this composition, and Jace just doesn't do that in any way. I mean, he's a good mid laner, solid top laner, sure, but I think that's a little bit of a mispick there, just because it doesn't really fit the rest of the Tainted Minds puzzle.
Well, I'm excited to see how Tainted Minds will round out their team comp, just because we've seen 2 types of Protect the Cogmores in the past. One where you have 4 supports just making sure he stays nice and healthy, and the other where you have multiple threats, so it's hard to try and take him down with all the other damage coming out from the team.
But you have to remember that was during a tank jungle setting. So what you normally had is a Lulu tank jungle, and then an assassin mid threat that the Lulu could also empower if the Cogmore went down. So it definitely historically did look a little bit like that. However, I still think that right now, without really tank junglers being in, you've locked in a Graves, you don't need to overkill the damage at this point.
Now though, Avant Garde, they found a way to lock down one member of Tainted Minds, and that's by picking up Malzahar as their support of choice, tagging along with Jhin in the bottom lane. A very strong bot lane duo to get in the final pick phase.
It certainly is, but it is nerfed Malzahar. I mean, most people just max Q now, I think, for the extended silence. And he's not all that much of a lane bully. That's just all carries. Tainted Minds have gone with the old school comp that they ran. I think it was it against Sin? Who did they pick up the 2-1 victory against?
I believe it was against them.
Yeah, and just, yeah, all carries everywhere.
Praetor's going to be picking up Fiora in the top lane, a champion we commonly see banned out during the second ban rotation. He's going to be playing that one into Nautilus.
So this is kind of like a 1-3-1 with the Cogmore sitting in the middle of the comp. Doesn't really make all that much sense now because they definitely don't have great wave clear. Only's going to have to help out with that a little bit. However, if it is a comfort lane for Squidgy and Brawler, then maybe they can just get themselves to a mid game where Cogmore will be able to do his thing.
Yep.
I think really team fight wise, AV managed to get the better team fight. And that's saying something against the Lulu Cold comp.
I'd like to see how Tainted Minds are going to be able to pull this one out. I mean, their bottom lane, if it's comfort, it's going to be great for them. On top of that, Lulu does well into Malzahar.
Yep.
Jin struggles against champions who can trade for a prolonged amount of time, which Lulu and Cogmore surprisingly do very well. But one player we really want to look at for this game is going to be Triple. He's on Syndra, a very comfortable champion for him, and one we've seen him actually snowball in the past with.
Yeah, completely agree, especially because he's got a really comfortable matchup. I still think that Syndra does fine into Jace. We've seen that it means that Jace has to go Hex Drinker early. I mean, you can go into things like Edge of the Night, but it slows his damage ramp significantly. So think that, you know, for Triple, he's got the winning matchup. However, top side of the map, Praetor has played a lot of Fiora historically, Fish. Had a great backdoor game back when he was on, I think, Chiefs Black. And we'll see whether, you know, now he's able to put himself in that carry position, because if there is a member that you think is going to step up, it has to be the long-staying member. Of course, only carry over from the previous roster of Tainted Minds and needs to have a captain's game.
And there's another battle of the top lanes. He's up against Series, who is on Nautilus. He did have a very impressive start to the OPL, did get shut down by Swiper, so but he is very familiar with these carry top laners, has played Fiora a few times himself. He's going to have to see if he understands how to play the matchup in reverse as he goes up against Praetor's Fiora in this match. For now, though, we are on to Summoner's Rift for the first match between Avant, Garde and Tainted Minds. And I mean, this is the match of the weekday. Spawn, we have Chiefs and Legacy coming up next, but this is already a really exciting team comp to watch from these two teams.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I think that AV versus Tainted Minds, you can't sleep on this, because this is probably going to be the 4th and 5th place teams going into it, especially if Sin get the run home that they're talking about. They're looking to launch themselves up the ladder and really try and contend with the others, so potentially one of these teams going to miss playoff.
Now you can see Avant Garde actually looking to see if they can go for an invade here. Just put a ward down over the Raptor camp to see if Tainted Minds only starts there. As they go across Summoner's Rift, let's just check in with Hingers quickly, who's standing by with Avant Garde's coach, Pinch.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Pinch, and reasonably standard champs coming out of AV today. We've seen a lot of them in the past, but Tainted Minds seem to be playing towards their comfort picks a lot of the time. So what are your, I mean, we're all locked away. They can't hear us right now. What are the win conditions, do you think, for AV today?
Sure. I think we have two really strong lanes in the mid lane and the bot lane today. Like, Syndra should push in Jace, and we knew they were going to pick the Cogmore and the Lulu, so we picked a lot of lockdown champions that can definitely abuse them in lane. Malzahar should be able to just get on him at any point. We also think Lulu is really bad, so we should definitely beat it in lane.
All right, well, let's see if your predictions come true, if Lulu is as bad as you think. Thank you for speaking to us, and best of luck in the match.
Thanks so much.
Somewhere in Sydney, Frostcurrent shedding a tear. Someone says Lulu was bad. But there you go. Pinch actually expecting the Cogmore Lulu lane coming out from Tainted Minds.
Yeah, I mean, it was called by Mendrix on the desk as well. One thing I will point out is that they say that they're expecting to win the lane, and yet they're running boot start on the Jhin, which means you're not looking to win it early, Fish, if you're looking to win it all. Boot start shouldn't be able to do all that much work, although if they just keep walking into crit shots and 4 bullets out of Jhin. So the thing about Jhin, if you give him a full round and a couple of bounces, he does win the trades. It's when he only has 2 bullets or so left. And yeah, now he's really starting to abuse.
Yeah, he's gone through 1 health potion, still has 3. Squidgy has none left. Even Brawler's chugging through them here.
And this was an old idea about boots, is that you had the sustain advantage and then you could walk on the enemy whenever you want. It kind of got undone by the range that AD carries started bringing into the bottom lane. So it's just interesting. Ooh, Praetor.
Going for the chippy invade here. Shelby will be able to take down the blue buff for himself.
I thought he might actually dash in and see if he can take that one away. Generally, you know, if the jungler is running that low, he doesn't have his smite available. Instead, just get some good vision.
So we'll be able to spot out where Shelby is on the map at the moment. Praetor does return to lane here. Behind a level against Sirius to kick things off. Decides not to go for any prolonged trades, but fairly even up on the top side of the map. We do check in with the mid lane for the first time in this match, and as always, things fairly even. The start between these two.
Triple's one of those players that's really good on Syndra at being able to throw out the stun midway through the pickup of the orb. I want to see how he exactly plays this lane matchup against Wizard, because you expect him to be aggressive.
For now, we can see Only still clearing out the rest of his jungle. He's picked up Graves, who's very strong in the current patch.
He is in nice and deep behind as well, which means there's a potential for a gank here. Does have to hug the wall nice and tight if he wants to go for it. However, Kog'Maw slow sets up ganks surprisingly well in the early game. And here we go. Might be the potential chance hit right now.
He's looking to try and go in. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Wizard is trying to run away from the opposite jungler. Blinky, though, wants to stand and deliver. Lots of damage down towards this gen. Squidgy's moving on forward, gets exhausted.
Why did
not
Only
fast
flash
enough.
away? I mean, that's really surprising. Double spawned creeps had come out, but he was in no danger of dying whatsoever. And Jacob is exhausted. You can see that in the end, they do win the trade quite heavily. I mean, Blinky does save both summoner spells, but that was a bizarre flash out of the Tainted Minds jungler.
Didn't even notice that Only decided to flash away after that one. I thought he was out free. I thought he was gone, but apparently not. He thought he was in a little bit of danger there. And still, Squidgy and Blinky trading back and forth. Categorics will lock it down. The crits there. Gets exhausted right on time. And Jake, he's going to get taken down for first blood. They do return the kill as Blinky flashes on forward, but still, fantastic exhausted brawler.
I think that Blinky was actually slow on the heel. That definitely shouldn't have gone that way. They both had all summoner spells available apart from the exhaust from Jake. So Blinky maybe costing his support player his life. But as I always say, if you kill the support on one side and 80 carry on the other, because you get to stick around, absorb all that experience as well as the gold, it certainly is still a win for AV. However, if they're looking to crush this lane, maybe not the start they were looking for, Fish.
Especially when your support is the one that picked up the kill there. And Blinky's decided to freeze that wave nice and deep towards his side of the map. There's Jake trying to stop Tainted Minds from taking away the Replicants, but we do get one question answer here, Spawn, which is what Squidgy is going to be building towards. He's picked up the recurve bow, so that should either be
Gwinsu's, Windbend, or Hurricane, which are all the items that potentially you can build towards.
Or Blade of the Ruined King, just realizing how silly I sound. It could be anything still, guys.
He's going attack speed, which I, for one, am shocked about, Fish.
Oh, come on, attack speed. This is new. I thought we just play lethality items here in the OPL. Blinky, though, is sticking to his serrated Dirk. And will be returning to the bottom lane. For now, things are still very even between Avant, Garde and Tainted Minds, just 6 minutes in.
Yeah, it certainly is. And you can see that right now they really are playing towards this pinches strategy. Deep Vision goes down on the bottom side of the map. They've shoved Wizard out of lane. He's down 20 CS. And they're looking to start abusing the early Jace pick. I like when, you know, a coach says something and then you can actually see it translating on the bottom side of the map. Now that Blinky actually has some AD, this lane should be quite easy for the Jhin as well as the Malzahar. However, Squidgy and Brawler, to their credit, are definitely staying in this one, ahead in CS.
The bottom lane so far is a lot better for Tainted Minds than it was last week. Seems like they were a little bit lost in the bottom lane.
And not the good kind of loss.
Yeah. Not the one we'll see later.
Yeah, not the one we're going to see play against the Chiefs today. And hopefully go berserk on Lucian.
Yeah, but for now, a very quiet game for a team composition between these two teams. It looks like they were going to fight the entire match. Everything just very calm and collected on Summer's
nice
Rift.
stun.
That Thunderlord's coming out there. Triple deciding not to use the ultimate. Wizard already down
he
below
had
400 health.
2 balls out, actually. Potentially didn't want the turnaround through the exhaust, but I don't think Wizard could have turned around really at all.
Seems like just setting up to try and see if he can take down Wizard at a more convenient timing. There's more trading going in the bottom lane. Good shields coming out from Brawler. Squidgy's been locked down. The Voilings are going to go to town. Exhaust is used as well. Blinky may just die to the Cathia's surprise. And it will be a 1-for-1 trade. Both 80 carry. No, actually, Jake picking up the kill.
Yep. So Jake grabbed that kill. So kind of the reverse situation of what happened before. Big dive looking potentially to come through for Series here, who is also spotted out only. That was smart from Blinky. You can't outrun a Cathian surprise with only boots 1. Kog'Maw is quite a quick little critter. So he just stayed around, dished out as much damage to Brawler as he could and tried to look for the follow-up kill. Wasn't forthcoming, but definitely the right idea. There's some counter jungling coming out of Chelby. Looks like it is going to be Gwinsu's first item, Fish.
He's picked up the pickaxe as his second item here. mentioned Chubby's going to be able to take away blue buff. If he stuck around a little bit longer, might be able to take that brawler as well. Now he's in a bit of trouble. We'll be able to leap away and get back to safety.
Certainly one of those times that you don't want to chase too hard onto the Kha'Zix, because if he ever does get you isolated in a little bit of room, he will do some good turnaround damage. Now only walking in with Wizard.
Yeah, Jake's standing his ground, happy to try and go toe-to-toe against both of them. Does not have level 6 yet. Shelby going over the wall. That's a lot of damage coming out from Wizard, but he flashes away nice and early.
Well, he had to. Triple was streaming in there, and the Syndra is well and truly accelerated. 83 CS in the mid lane to only 50. Wizard is having a difficult time. Still go back to the fact that I think he could have played support and lived through this lane a little bit better. Instead, he chose to fight fire with fire against one of the better mechanical mid laners in the OPL in Triple, who had a slow start to the season, but has definitely ramped up well.
Yeah, he certainly has ramped up incredibly well. He's going to get locked down here, though. There's the ultimate coming out from Triple. Wizard is going to get taken down by Jake.
Yeah, and that was actually Wizard going aggressive, and Jake was just there, read the play phenomenally, burns the flash and the ultimate, but snowballs this mid lane even further ahead right now for Avant. And that is a huge win condition looking to be exploited.
On top of that, Shelby has got some good control going in the jungle for now. Counter jungling against only, getting that deep vision as Pinch mentioned earlier. On top of that, has taken down the first elemental dragon of the game, a cloud dragon, who we picked up by Avant Garde.
Blinky really believes in the heart of the cards with these bounces. I mean, I don't know about you when you play Jhin and like Misfortune and things like that, but I feel like other people get way luckier bounces than I do. Maybe I just need to get better.
I don't know. I got reprimanded by Minky Whale earlier today. He told me I have to save my double up for some reason. Yeah. No, you just go for everyone you have. As Blinky almost gets taken down. He actually does. Squidgy assassinates him. Now he wants Jake as well. One more is going to be able to take him down. He gets the double kill out of nowhere. That's a beautiful butterfly in the bottom lane.
It certainly is. Flashes forward and Squidgy able to get the 2 kills. I mean, he's just hit a spike right now. Brawler's able to give him that big shield. He's got some attack speed. And this is a great thing about Lulu lane. She makes up for a lot of the damage early through that help picks. And that's got to feel good when you're a Kog'Maw heading towards that mid game. Getting 3 kills in the laning phase as well as a 13 CS lead is a definitely nice feeling.
It certainly is. I mean, a lot of players in the LPL have said before, it doesn't matter if you've dived 20 times on an 80 carry, as long as you have 10 kills, you're good to go. It seems that Squidgy is living through that motto. Flashing on 4 in the lane. I mean, we gave so much praise to Avant Garde's bottom lane. We always have, because they're such a solid duo. And it seems that Squidgy and Brawler are slowly able to change things around down there.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, they do currently have a couple of kills on Jake as well as Blinky. They haven't spent as much time in the lane as we would have expected out of AV. Instead helping out Triple as much as possible. Wizard needs to continue to be careful in this mid lane, Fish, because they've cheated up one more time. He just can push this one into the turret. And all the members are rotating in, actually.
Does not get stunned up by the Dark Matter here, but they're all going to try and collapse. Wizard will get locked down. There goes Shelby. Nice and easy assassination. Teleport coming out from both top laners. First one will get cancelled. The second one will too. They get a nice and easy pick in the mid lane.
Yeah, and they actually try and ult Jake because his minions took turret aggro a little bit there. However, he's able to get out. Brawler looking for the snow, not going to be able to land it onto Triple.
It's fighting up in the top side of the map. Praether's trying to chase series out. That's a flash forward from the Nautilus. Praether still trying to slide away. Chelby's coming on forward. Gets absolutely nothing out of it. So flash burnt by the Avant Garde top laner.
Yeah, that was a bad flash. He didn't have any CC available apart from the slow. However, if it forces Praether off the turret, definitely were, as they're looking to push home an advantage here. Wizard is heading towards the top lane, however, Fish. Potentially they can turn this one around.
Pernicol being popped by Blinky in the bottom lane. But that's just going to be tanked up by Only, stopping the creep wave from getting taken down. And Tainted Minds, they might be able to get first turret here.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it's going to be a close thing. First turret does fall. Top lane successfully defended, as you pointed out. So great call out of Tainted Mind. 4-4. They're up 2,000 gold nearly at very early into the game.
And again, with a new roster, Tainted Mind still looking very, very strong to kick things off. I mean, it's 3 weeks in a row. They've changed things around, and they still look all right.
Yeah, they look fine at the moment, but the mid lane is a big danger area right now. Triple is 50 CS up.
Ouch.
And is a one-man wrecking crew. I mean, he's at the clock. He's got a kill. He's shoving in hard versus Wizard. That when you're down by 2,000 gold and your mid lane is up by 1,000 gold, you're in a good spot.
Certainly is. I mean, while you were talking about him then, you just saw only getting chunked out by a single Q and a throw of the ball. And if that's going to keep it up, if that's going to be kept up here by Triple, it's going to be a disaster for Tainted Mind, especially when they know that that's one of the win conditions for AV.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, no matter how big Squidgy is, if he can just be flashed upon from Triple and 100 to 0'd, it's going to be a tough ask to live through the team fight. You can see also with a couple of turret takes, they've equalized the Goldfish.
Yep.
So even though early game was looking promising, a little bit of a fight back right now.
Shelby going to get flashed on here by only not enough damage to take him down. I believe he secured blue buff for himself. Evades all the snipes coming out from Tainted Mind on top of that.
I want to watch that again because I think Only actually fumbled the play a little bit. Squidgy in some trouble.
They're looking for a fight. Here comes Series, locks down the Cogwell. He's going to get taken down as Shelby comes back in with next to no health. Brawler now the next target for Avant Garde. He flashes away, trying to run away from this big Nautilus, but they just get one pick for the trouble. Triple looking for another, wraps around the backside. One more would be enough. Captive Audience will lock him down, and Triple gets another kill for Avant Garde.
And AV are just so composed. They understand that the map is starting to get away from them a little bit. What do? They rotate their tank down, know that right now Praetor can't really go with it. Instead, he decides to push top lane, and they're going to trade equal objectives, but bonus kills there for the AV lineup.
All Tainted Minds are trying to do now is just clear out this minion wave. They've got Graves behind the jungle. Wizard just trying to throw out Qs wherever he can, but 4 members strong with Voidlings to boot. Avant Garde will take down the mid lane inner turret.
Yeah, and the problem is that Wizard's just way too far behind right now. I mean, he can't go with anywhere near Triple. So Triple just has so much presence around these team fights. At the same time, Squidgy got caught out, a little bit overzealous without flash available. You always have to watch your positioning if you are the Cogmore. Take another look at this. He actually walks straight into the pass, and he knows Jake's there, and Jake just turns around, spell shield up. Brawler unfortunately not able to break that tether soon enough, and Squidgy just falls without really doing anything. At the same time, all the damage goes out. Blinky just survives by skin of his teeth, and Triple, just great presence of mind one more time. Running over wards. I mean, just really nice follow-up out of the AV lineup, and TM, if they're not willing to bring Praetor down this early, shouldn't be fighting.
Certainly should not. And again, as you mentioned, Squidgy knew exactly where Jake was and walked straight into the Malzahar. The one thing that they have to lock down this Cogmore nice and easy. Have to see if he does go for a QSS later on. He already sees built Merc threads. He does not want to tank all of this crowd control that Avant Garde have. Praetor trying to go toe-to-toe against Series here, but just slowly pushing this wave in towards his turret. And Avant Garde looking for another Elemental Dragon, this time the Infernal Dragon.
Yeah, and I mean, they get air early, which is one of the better early dragons, especially when you're trying to navigate back to the lane. Ocean is, of course, probably the best early game dragon, but still unsurpassed in late game. Tower is the Fire Drake, and that's going to be picked up at only 16 minutes in, so potential for another couple to come out in this game.
Medical coming out here. Seems like they've got a flank on towards Tainted Minds, picking out the wards for Series to teleport to, but Chelby's been caught out. He's going to get taken down by Only, and Tainted Minds want to turn this around. Praetor has teleported down into the lane. Triple looking to try and lock him down. Ultimate will come out. Lives with plenty of health here for Praetor. They do counter the dive in the bottom lane.
Yeah, they certainly do. I mean, they're able to pick up a kill for nothing. They get themselves back within touching distance of gold. And they will be able to secure Squidgy a little bit more farm, which is always nice. However, that damage that came out of Triple was pretty mean still. He hit him with a W with one orb and an ultimate, and he nearly died. So you can say plenty of health. I'm skeptical of that.
Still yet to pick up a Hex Shrinker. Praetor up in the top lane. Wizard has picked this up as early as possible. He's already felt the punishing damage that Triple could dish out in the lane itself.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that with Fiora, you really just want to be able to split push forever and not have to worry about building all that many defensive stats at the start of the game. You want to get your 2 to 3 offensive items. Then you go towards whatever you want after that because you've already just got enough as Praetor actually running away top lane.
Yeah, Series looking to try and lock him down. Pops the ultimate, decides, yeah, nah, not chasing him anymore.
It's a couple of times that Series has looked to go aggressive when I don't think he really has any way to go aggressive. I mean, it was just Jake running into the top lane. Doesn't have exhaust available. It's going to take a lot of killing to take down Fiora.
Ooh, but they do have the flank
now they have Shelby. This is better.
They're going the wrong way, though. They thought he was going to go back, but Praetor has pushed on forward. Now they're going up towards the top side of the map, but Squidgy wants to fight triple. Might be able to take him down, flashes forward, and he gets a kill in the mid lane. Praetor's going to die on the top side of the map as well.
Yeah, I mean, Praetor falls down. It was a 2v1. Great flash forward one more time out of Squidgy. Able to pick up the shutdown onto triple, so a good trade. Meanwhile, however, in the bottom lane, Blinky did grab the turret for the AV lineup. So AV starting to pull ahead in the turret objectives, but the gold's still very close right now. And the kind of rule about Kog'Maw is if you ever get into late game, even with limited protection, he's going to be able to put in work.
I mean, limited protection. They still have a Lulu. 2 exhausts on the team and tons of damage coming out from the top side of the map. Tainted looking very strong here against Avant Garde. And again, I've been harping on this in the entire series, but this is the 3rd iteration of Tainted we've seen this split. They brought in Only, they put Praetor back up to the top lane. Wizard has now moved over from Sin, and Squidgy being picked up as well.
They're actually looking towards Herald. We talked about this the other day, that Herald seems to be a very undervalued objective. Maybe just want to deny it away from Praetor, although at 19 minutes into the game, the buff's going to last a long time. Interested to see whether they give it to Chelby. They do. So a little bit more assassination threat if Chelby ever catches anyone in a side lane by himself. Also makes you jungle quicker.
It does. I was thinking series might want to pick that one up to try and go toe-to-toe against the Fiora.
Yeah, defensive stats, always nice against the Fiora.
Instead, they want to go aggressive here, Vanguard. Blinky now is going to be the one that tries to hold up this mid lane. Slowly, the gap is closing between Triple and Wizard as well. He does have 2 kills ahead of the opposite mid laner and is 30 CS up. He's still the threat in the Vanguard lineup. Tainted looking very comfortable though. You can see Squidgy, after picking up his Rage Blade, has gone for a Zeal. Probably the Hurricane is his next item.
This is hilarious. Ardent Sense has already been picked up by Lulu. I mean, this comp. Like, the bottom lane is convinced it's a protect the Kog'Maw comp, and the top side of the map is convinced it's a 1-3-1 comp.
Don't ever change, Tainted Minds. You can take the players out of TM, but you can't take the TM out of TM.
That's true, because there'll always be TM. I agree with you.
For now, though, we have a lull in the action here between Avant Garde and Tainted Minds. Seems like they're just content with farming it out. Tainted Minds have put Wizard to the top side of the map. Praetor is now split pushing on the bottom lane. And are only spending quite a bit of time in Chelby's jungle at the moment.
Yeah, certainly is. He's farmed up a Storm, 50 CS. This is why we like Graves at the moment. Of course, that is going to be a Black Cleaver, changing the item path a little bit tanky, a little bit less AD, trying to force it towards the bruisers a little bit more. But still good on Graves. He's a bruiser in his own right. Man with a shotgun, much more close range. We'll see where AV force, however, because when the game goes into a 1-3-1, but you don't have solid control over the wave, when Series is able to do this, push back a little bit, there's always the chance that he disappears into Fog of War, they make a teleport play, and they're able to force somewhere on the map. So right now, you can see that Tainted Minds think it's going to be the top lane, because they've got 3 deep control wards that are stopping any of those flanking wards going down where Series can teleport to. Really, the job now for AV is to get in there, clean those out, or Only can just die.
Yeah, that's half his health gone. The ultimate is going to come out from Syndra, but Wild Growth, Brawler will say that doesn't taste too purple here as he keeps him alive. But again, you can see how much power Triple has on this Syndra right now, able to chunk out anyone besides Tainted Minds.
Yeah, use the Ghost. Only didn't even have to flash there. You thought maybe Triple would flash in for another Q before he threw out the ultimate, but decides not to go with it. Does get the ultimate out of Brawler, which is a good news story. Let's see how that one goes. As Series looking to tango.
Yeah, wants to fight here. He's trying to hug the wall against Praetor. Already got him down to half health, and he fancies going back in.
I mean, Jake was flying down there.
Gonna call from Blinky. Squidgy's trying to sidestep all this damage, dodges all the bullets, but he can't dodge that. Blinky snipes off the last round, and now Brawler's the one that's in trouble. Gets locked down. Avant Garde get 2 kills.
Yeah, and that's really nicely done from AV. They know that there isn't a tank line available right now for the Tainted Minds lineup. They force in the mid lane. They didn't even need their Nautilus for it. That means that they're going to march into the base at only 22 minutes.
Minions will slowly crash on in. Inhibitor turret is going to fall. Avant Garde pick it up after 2 nice and easy picks. Inhibitor will fall shortly after as well.
And this is typically why you don't play 1-3-1 with Kog'Maw, because he doesn't have the wave clear in the mid lane. He doesn't have the safety of either an escape or like a massive ranged auto attack. Varus, Jhin, they're able to clean out waves so easily. And Cogmore, he's just kind of a sitting duck for any of the initiation that can come out of the AV squad. I mean, they burnt an ultimate to kill him. They didn't even really have to burn all that much out, Elsefish.
Shelby now looking to continue his control over these elemental dragons, but Praetor shows up and says hello as only wants this Baron. Squidgy's going to be able to hop over the wall with the explosive
Problem
plant.
is that AV no, and now they've left Squidgy in the pit.
Fast, Squidgy, get out! The rest of the team now trying to run away. Blinky looking to try and collapse. Series wants the Baron. The rest of the team says no.
So Squidgy goes in and just flashes straight back out. I think he would have wanted that summoner spell for maybe a team fight or not being able to be caught in the mid lane. Instead, they do get the teleport, so now a big teleport advantage for TM. That cannot be undervalued in a 1-3-1 comp.
They've got to be careful because Shelby is wrapping around behind Praetor, and slowly 2 members of Avant Garde are rotating into the bottom lane. Spirit is going to slide on out quickly. Series is slowly collapsing on, but decides he wants the minions instead.
One more time, they're just trying to force him away and then look to exploit the rest of the map. If they never have to fight Praetor for the rest of the game, they're in a good position because he is the one farmed member at the moment for TM. I mean, Cogmore, he's still doing fine. He's 4-4-1, has good CS values. However, has shown that he's more prone to get picked off than maybe the other members of TM.
We have another elemental drake being
One more
taken
time,
down.
they actually started up the Baron.
They see the dragon being started. They go straight towards Baron. That's really low already. Only's gone over the wall. The rest of the team is slowly collapsing here. Curticole's coming in. Wiz is going to take up the first 2 shots. They're sniped off by Blinky. Gets the 4th one onto Only. Shelby jumps on in. That's Baron for Avant Garde.
Yeah, and that was a really risky play coming out of TM. They felt like there was a clock on the game, so they try and roll the dice. Baron on a 1-3-1 comp would be able to get you some much-needed turret gold. However, not able to come up with the goods, and all of a sudden, AV are rolling.
Come here, says Series. Tries to take down Praetor. Going to try and
Does
hug
no
the wall
damage.
for the ultimate. Gets the heal. And Praetor still wants to fight. Series just going to say, I'm out. Peace.
I mean, that was the full combo out of Praetor. And you can see that Series is just so damn tanky. If it's not hitting vitals, it's just not doing any damage at all. Praetor will be able to heal up, but...
He's got 4 armor items.
Yeah,
right
he's
now.
a brick. He's literally a brick in the top lane.
Well, makes sense when the entire top side of the map is all attack damage. When we take a look at that Baron fight again, it's not great.
I mean, the snipes were just there out of Blinky hitting priority targets. Of course, suppression is one of the few things in the game that will stop Smite going through. So they're able to kill only within the suppression of the Malzahar ultimate. He doesn't have a QSS yet, unfortunately, so can't burst that one down. And now AV, firm control. This game has looked very sloppy out of AV. I mean, against a new Tainted Minds roster, definitely not the bounce-back performance they were looking for. However, Triple just got his hands in very, very early, and it's been impossible to force the Syndra out ever since.
I mean, he's got his Lumizak over Nomicon as well as the Void Staff picked up already. 3 major items for the Syndra. Going to be able to chunk out anyone he hits with his stuns.
Of course, after the Rylai's nerf, more mid laners deciding to go towards what is the God V build of the Syndra, actually. Mid laner for LGD was the person that first picked this up that I saw. And using the curtain call one more time to just zone off ultimates and be able to walk into the base.
Yeah, Inhibitor Turret's going to fall down straight away. Tainted Minds just give it up and say, you can have our base, just don't kill us.
Exactly
Be
right,
like
and they're leaving Praetor in the bottom lane, but now 2 inhibs down, Baron creeps, and they've got quick recalls to be able to go back and deal with Praetor. So not really all that much gained if you are TM. And so much uphill work to do now. Good news is you're funneling farm onto Jason and Cogmore, who deal with super creeps really well. Bad news is you're down 6,000 gold, and Triple wants to kill your top laner.
You know, see Praetor trying to get the heck out of there. Mid lane and top lane inhibitors have been taken down. He's still trying to slide out of this one. Explosive plant will get him away. Shelby looking to go over the wall. Blinky's found him. He's the assassin. Gee, he says it's high noon as he takes down Praetor.
I mean, and that was the pick they needed, because all of a sudden it's a 4v5. Creeps are going to stream up 2 lanes of the map, and they can just pressure bottom side. Praetor overstayed, got caught out by a really good collapse coming out of AV. And now the game is just theirs for the tanking. They have 30 seconds where it is an unfair fight, as well as the base being in shambles.
Yep, most summoners are up and available as well for Avant Garde. Pushing in with a Baron up creep wave, a cannon minion as well. looking to try and chunk this one down. Series leading the charge. Doesn't care too much about the damage being dished out by Tainted Minds. Stunned to Brawler, locked down by the anchor. Captain Audience comes in too, and they're going to town on Tainted Minds. Slowly, one by one, they will fall. Series does not care as he gets all of his health back somehow. The turret's going to fall, and the inhibitors are slowly going to be taken down.
However, Wizard did manage to assassinate Triple in that fight. Will eventually fall down to Blinky. And this may be Game Fish. We'll see whether they can fight them off.
Creative's looking to do whatever he can to defend the base with Squidgy. Only is going to come back up. Instead, they look to try and take down all the inhibitors first. It's 3 on 5. Oh, sorry, 3 on 4. But they're still holding strong here, Tainted Minds.
Yeah, and you can see that low HP values on Series means that they don't want to overcommit. Looks like TM want in.
Series looks for the hook, doesn't get it. Jake's going to try and lock down Bradiv. And now Tainted Minds going on through so many low health bars. Bradiv's flashing forward with Only as well. Series is dead. Squidgy gets the kill. Blinky's next. Big shotgun to the face from Only. And Tainted Minds fight back.
And this is the thing. You never really want to team fight against Cogmore unless you have everything available to shut that guy down. Because if he ever gets rolling, Ultimate has very long range and an execute, has that machine gun damage, and you can see that Praedyth and Only also just marching forward those two brawlers of a front line. So they're able to repel them for now. They'll be able to eat a lot of farm on the top side of the map. However, you feel it's only a matter of time. One of the turrets fell down in the base, I believe. Maybe only one left. No, actually, it's only 10 turrets, so they've got 2 left. And it looks like they're going to be all right.
Tainted Minds, just something's never changed, Spawn. You can take all the players away, change the roster 3 times in a row, but somehow we've got no base left, and they're still trying to fight 30 minutes into the game.
I can't math anyway. One of the turrets went down, so everyone just ignore the last 30 seconds. I just went back and counted. Yes, thank you, Michael. I can see you out of the corner of my eyes. Hingers is a jerk.
He's not a jerk, he's a comedian.
Oh, artistic liberty to do whatever he wants, huh? The old comedian card.
For now, though, Avant still looking to see how they can close out this game. Tainted Minds not going down without a fight. It seems like every single game they lose is the exact same story. Avant only have one objective left to take down that is not the Nexus or the Nexus turrets.
They're under a kill a minute at the moment, however, so, you know, not a typical Tainted Minds game. We generally expect them to get up a little bit. Maybe this will change that.
Kona Cole's going to come out. Squidgy says, I'm going to tank those up with this big shield. Only gets hit by the crit shot. And Ultimate will come out for Lulu, trying to keep the Cogmore alive. Wizard's going to get locked down by 2 spells. Tries to go in, but Triple gets the kill. It's now a 4 on 5 and only 1 turret left to take.
Yeah, exactly right. Only that one turret I was talking about before, and it looks like this is going to be the end of TM.
They're going to try and do whatever they can. Squidgy's jumping on forward. Praedyth's gone for a flank, but a Fiora's not a great flanking champion. The Cogmore's a beautiful butterfly no more, as the Cathy Surprise will come out, and Avant take game 1 over Tainted Minds.
Yeah, they certainly do. It was pretty clean in the end. I mean, shaky starts with Squidgy having a better laning phase than I think anyone would have expected on a Cogmore Lulu. However, the comp just wasn't there for them to have any success in team fights. And I feel like that's a big shortcoming of TM. Their composition, for me, made very little sense.
And somehow they still managed to work with it very early. Did not translate it into anything in the mid-game or late game. There's Avant just clean house, but very sloppy start from Avant.
Yeah, it certainly was. And I mean, the area we expect Avant to be the cleanest in that bottom lane, Blinky and Jake, time and time again, looked aggressive, and it turned around and bit them in the bum a little bit.
It certainly did, and with that, Avant do pick up game 1. For now, though, let's give it back to the analyst desk to break down that game.
Thanks very much, Fish and Spawn. Well, there we have it. AV able to take out the Nexus and all 11 turrets associated with that, taking out the first game. 1-0. I'm joined here by Minky Whale and Mendrix. Let me start, guys, by talking about this TM comp, because they've picked up a Cogmore, obviously a pocket pick for Squidgy, and showed some early signs of life, but then do you 1-3-1 with Cogmore? Do you just try and team fight Mendrix?
Yeah, exactly. It didn't really make sense, and I think what they wanted to go for was a 1-3-1 situation. But when you have a protect the Cogmore, you really want to make sure you got your whole team with you. So that Cogmore is exactly that. He's protected. He's able to dish out that damage that he does. And the moment they sort of moved towards that 1-3-1 strategy, just didn't work out for them.
And Minky, we see with AV, we talked to Pinch before we went into this game. He said, look, Lulu is bad. His words, not mine. Lulu is bad. But you were saying backstage, look, Lulu is kind of a counter to Mal's.
Well, yeah, traditionally, or just recently anyway, Lulu has become the counter to Mal's, and AV had a chance to kind of change it up a little bit, but I think they just stuck with their comp, and it did work out for them in the end. Just big hiccup in the lane phase.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to think, because you were saying as well with Blinky, I mean, we know he's a great AD carry, but that laning phase for him, is it weak or is it just not as strong as the rest of his game?
Well, against all the better teams, he has been struggling quite a bit in the lane phase. He makes up for it in the mid game, obviously. So I'd like to see TM try to capitalize on that more and just pick stronger bot lanes and try to roll over Jakey and Blinky.
And I feel it's because it was off the pick sort of composition that they went for. That granted that maybe, you know, it wasn't the best in terms of the overall game strategy that TM wanted to do, but they sort of baited the Malzahar out. If you looked at the bans, they got rid of a fair amount of supports, even the Nami, and it just made that next obvious choice, which was great for them as they had the Lulu.
All right, well, let's talk again about Squidgy, because this is his first OPL game, and his team have gone to protect the Cogmore, that strategic Cogmore pick. What are your thoughts on that, Mendrix?
So I like it, but again, they just didn't do it properly. You need to have another champion really to sort of spruce him up. Pick an Orianna. That way, you know, he gets an extra amount of shields. And as you can see, he absolutely pops off here, and he shouldn't. And it's because they had a rough time in lane. And at this point in time, Cogmore feels great. Like, a Cogmore would love to have this sort of situation given to him. You ideally should be able to win the game off that. But the macro phase wasn't as strong as it really should have been. And that's how they ended up losing in the end. AV had better macro play over Tainted Minds.
I mean, is 226 CS for a Cogmore, is that high or low for a game of this length, Minky?
I mean, it's solid.
Yeah.
He had good farm, decent items, and he hit them at the right times. I mean, it was like he had it. They had the game in the bag, and they just shat the bed.
But I mean, that comes down to the fact that Tainted Minds haven't had a lot of time to practice together, right? So you got to think that early laning phase where it's all about mechanics, it's all about knowing and being comfortable on your champions. That's one thing. But then when you go into that mid and late game where it's much more strategic, much more macro play, that's where they were always going to fall apart, right, Mendrix?
And you could absolutely see that. I mean, there was one point when Cogmore was leading the charge. You don't want to do that as Cogmore. You want to be in the back. I mean, I know you've got a Lulu to protect yourself, but ideally what happened is he ran in, Jake saw him, was like, sweet, no worries. And everyone knows that feeling when you get locked down by another grasp. You're just sitting there like, just waiting to die. And it's just like, oh, nuts, here we go again.
The dread.
And the dread of it all. And afterwards, it just completely took them out afterwards.
All right. Well, I mean, Avant Garde as well. Let's talk about the rest of their team. Series, Chelby, Triple. I mean, Triple looked pretty strong against Wizard throughout most of the game. Would you agree?
Well, Triple is one of those guys that can go head-to-head with Swiffer. He's actually quite a strong mid laner at the moment. Really has sort of come into form recently, especially with AV growing his time. So he did really well going into him, but it's sort of just a bad situation for him sort of decided to deal with that particular laner, because he's more of the guy that wants to neutralize the lane, get to that 1-3-1 situation when you look at Wizard specifically. And going into Swiffer, he's going to be more than, Swiffer. Going into Triple, he's going to be more than happy to sit back and say, you know what, I'm going to win lane.
Well, for Wizard, not being necessarily able to bring it to Triple throughout the game, is that part of Tainted Minds' broader inexperience that we saw throughout the game, Minky, do you think?
I think it was more the pressure that the bot lane and Chelby especially brought into mid. I mean, there was lots of wards in TM's jungle from AV, and you saw Jakey rotate and kill Wizard twice.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of that pressure kind of nullified Wizard's effectiveness in mid lane.
And then sort of the inexperience, going back to the inexperience point, it all comes down to the Baron throw that they did at the very end. I think it was sort of them just having that desperation play that they had, and really this here that comes into it there. And this sort of play, they should just not have been going for the Baron. This is them showing their inexperience in terms of their macro play. And I think it's because, again, desperation. They wanted to make something happen. AV immediately saw that opportunity knowing, you know what, we've seen this. This isn't our first rodeo. We know exactly what's going to happen here. And just ran straight into him, took them out. Basically the nail in the coffin for the rest of the game.
All right, well, there you have it. Avant Garde up 1-0 over this new look Tainted Minds roster. We'll be back with Game 2 to see if Tainted Minds can claw it back right after this.
He's ready back and forth. Categorics will lock it down. The crits there. Gets exhausted right on time. And Jake, he's going to get taken down for first blood. Blinky almost gets taken down. He actually does. Squidgy assassinates him. Now he wants Jake as well. One more is going to be able to take him down. He gets the double kill out of nowhere. That's a beautiful butterfly in the bottom lane. First two shots, that's sniped on by Blinky, gets the fourth one onto Only, Chelby. guys going up through so many low health bars. Kratos flashing forward with Only as well. Series is dead. Squidgy gets the kill. Blinky's next. Big shotgun to the face with Only. And Tainted might fight back.
Chosen of the moon.
Art should terrify. They won't survive. Ha! There's nowhere to hide.